Hello everybody, June here. Let's talk Burda Style. So in my first video of the year, which I keep referencing in all my videos after, it feels like, I said that one of my goals for 2023 was to sew more from Burda Style because I've been subscribing forever, by which I mean probably, I don't know, 13 years, maybe something like that, 14 years. And so I have a lot of issues, and yeah, I should probably be sewing more from Burda Style. But there have been some recent developments. Well, actually, this has been a long time coming. But I am rethinking Burda Style altogether. And I'm going to tell you today why I am quitting Burda Style. The number one reason that I am quitting Burda Style is cost. And this is the number one reason, but also relates to the other reasons, and I'll get to that. So, cost. When I first started subscribing to Burda Style, it was a different company than the company who handles United States and I guess North American subscriptions now. And back then it was, I think maybe $80, maybe $89, something like that a year. And it was a little bit more manageable. But over the last several years, the price has increased and has increased and has kept on increasing. And the yearly subscription cost now is $129. That was as of August 2022, which was when I renewed my subscription. So it has become increasingly more difficult to justify that kind of subscription money when there's other things that are happening that are making it difficult to see whether it's worth it or not. So cost is the number one reason. The number two reason why I am quitting Burda Style is actually repetition. So repetition has always been a part of Burda, and in the past they have recycled patterns from magazines, previous magazine issues, sometimes from their envelope patterns, which used to not be the same as the magazine. So it's not like repetition is a new thing, but repetition has become the norm. If you have been subscribing to Burda for a while, and you look at the new issues, there's so many of the patterns are repeats. Maybe sometimes with like tiny bits of changes, small things, but a lot of them, every single issue, sometimes more than one. And there is a whole thread about this on Pattern Review. Actually, there's many threads because we talk about it every time we look at the preview for the following month. So repetition has really become a problem. And if I have been subscribing for all these years and Burda is just repeating patterns from not even 10 years ago, sometimes they repeat patterns from the year before, then am I getting my money's worth when so much of what they're putting out is stuff that I already have? So the cost is a problem. Repetition makes the cost issue even more of a problem. And I feel like if I'm paying for that kind of, if I'm paying that kind of money, I want new things. The worst of the repetition problems began in late 2020. And to be fair, we all realize that, it's probably pandemic problems. People are not working, or, there's fewer people working. And I think they do work on a few months advanced. So it's not like the pandemic hit in March worldwide and then immediately the quality dropped, right? So it took a little bit. So I specifically, I can't speak for other people, but from what I've read on the forums, people understood that, this might be a pandemic problem. But it is 2023 and the pandemic is not over, but everyone's acting like it is. So you would think that by now they would have gotten their act together and tried to figure out how to come up with new content, new patterns without having to repeat so much. So at this point, I can no longer, for the cost of $129 a year, give them the benefit of the doubt about the repetition. So cost and repetition. Nevertheless, I had been willing to continue with my subscription despite the cost, despite the repetition, because, well, first of all, to be honest, every time I've tried to stop my subscription, I've had serious FOMO and I've restarted it and I've bought all the back issues. And so I was willing to go with it when it was just cost and repetition. I was just going to continue with my subscription. But then last month in January 2023, Burda made an announcement that for me was the breaking point. The announcement was that starting with the February 2023 issue, which is the one that arrived in the mail a few days ago, they are actually doing away with the plus size patterns. So for years, Burda has had straight patterns that go, I think, from a size 36 to a size 44, and then they have a plus size section that goes from 44 to 52. That no longer exists. They've said that rather than having that plus size section in every single issue, instead they are putting all of the plus size patterns in, I think, 4 yearly issues. To me, that is a big deal. So instead of having a plus size pattern, they have a few patterns every issue that go from 36 or whatever the lowest size is to a size 48. In the current issue, which is February, they have 3 patterns that have that size arrangement, and they're awful. To be fair, Burda Style plus size patterns have never been particularly fashion forward. They are very clear that their plus size section is meant to hide flaws, but the patterns that come in this extended size, and I say 3 because there's actually 3 patterns and 2 of them have different sleeves, so they could claim that it's 5, but it's really 3. Anyway, so with them removing the plus size, which I have always pretty much straddled the straight size and the plus size, and recently more leaning to the plus size section, to me, it is just not worth it. It is not worth it to me to be paying $129 a year to get a bunch of repeated patterns that are also not in a size that is close to what I need. So this elimination of the plus size patterns on the regular monthly issues is completely the breaking point for me. This is just not something that I'm willing to go along with. And it's not just because it affects me personally, but also it's sort of the principle. So yes, all those issues combined, the cost, the increase in repetition, and the final elimination of the plus size section is what has finally made me decide that I'm going to quit Burda Style, by which I mean I am not going to renew my subscription when it expires in August. I'm obviously going to continue to use the ones that I do have, and the ones that are coming between now and August. But this is it. I think I am done with the Burda Style magazine. It was a long-term relationship, but all things come to an end, and unfortunately Burda decided to go this route, and if they hadn't, I would have probably continued to subscribe, but it is what it is. So yeah, that's all that I have for you. It is a very short and chatty video, but I think it's one worth making because I had made it a goal earlier in the year to sew more from Burda Style, so it felt like this breakup had to be made public. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.